Here on That's a Tap. I'm CT with DJ, here to break down the aftermath of the UFC Vegas. Merab, big win against Yan. We'll recap the card. But DJ, good to be with you again.
CD, my man, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be here. Good card on the weekend. But hey, can we start off by appreciating this beautiful T-shirt, man? Can we start appreciating this beautiful T-shirt? Shout out to my man CT, who was in beautiful sunny Perth not too long ago, witnessing history when Volkanovski took on Islam. But hey, this is what good mates do, man. He didn't forget me while I couldn't be there. He brought a souvenir back, and man, I'm in love, man. This T-shirt is fantastic. Thank you,
Looks
CT.
clean.
Ah, man, like love this T-shirt is as good as a fight. That's all I'd say. I mean, fantastic. But hey, let's get back to last week. On Sunday, we had a big bantamweight showdown. There were some good fights in that card. Um, some key fights for several divisions, I guess. But obviously, the center of it was this bantamweight bout. Um, Against Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili. Um, Man, what did you think of the fight? Straight off the bat, what did you think of the fight?
Oof. I think you see some graphics down there, but yeah, looked dominant.
Yeah,
Yan was completely beat up. I
yeah,
was surprised, I must admit. I know we didn't do
mm,
a preview, but if
yeah.
if we did do a preview, I would have said it would be a very even, a competitive fight. But I guess shout out to Merab, his dominance. He lets you know. Has he been underrated, DJ?
Man, I don't think he's been underrated. I just think we haven't been able to see much of him.
Mm,
Obviously, he's under the shadow of Aljo Sterling, who fights out of the same gym, Sarah Longo. But for me, like you're right, for me, that whole fight was me coming to realize how good Merab Dvalishvili really is. Not knowing how good he was and how ignorant I've been to his skill set. Obviously, previously we've had him fight against Aldo, um, and I guess there was some criticism in terms of the pace of the fight and sort of the lack of excitement. And I guess he made up for it, man. Like I mean, I'll be honest, going into this fight, I was expecting Petr Yan to have an easy, somewhat easy win, and man, was I shocked because it was the exact opposite. If anything, it was a one-sided domination on
mm,
Merab's point of view. I mean, look, the numbers alone were staggering, right? There were 202 strikes thrown, 49 takedowns attempted, and I believe he landed 11 of those. And then there was what was a significant strike? It was 147 significant strikes. All this, and he just keeps getting impressive and impressive because if you really watch that fight live, it's just the pace they set, especially Merab. He just wouldn't stop. His nickname is Merab the Machine, right? That's exactly what he was on the day. He was a machine. He seemed unstoppable. To be honest, man, I was watching this fight and I was thinking, look, the bantamweight division is an extremely stacked division, right? No doubt about that, right?
yep.
And for me, Marab was kind of floating around thinking, okay, well, he's a good wrestler, but he just doesn't have that it factor. He's probably going to climb the rankings slow and all this and whatnot. And then, like, obviously, he now fought Jan, and now I'm thinking he's actually one of the strongest bantamweight contenders we have. I know Aljo, and we'll talk about this in what's next for these guys, but it's. I feel like his skill set could beat anyone in that top five, including the champion, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see matchups because he's been quite vocal about not wanting to fight Aljo. I know Dana White said his own piece about it, but just from a purely skill set point of view, I think he put a stamp on it. A lot more people will now know who Merab is, right? There's going to be a lot of his
Mm,
brand's
yeah.
going to take a big boost because the person he went out and beat is no joke, right? We know who Peter Yan is. We know what he was doing up until the point where that illegal knee happened, right? And seems like since that point, his career has gone a bit sideways. I'm still not ready to write him off, right?
Yeah.
Because of what we've seen of him, right? I don't know if it's a mental block, a mental switch, what it is. Did he underestimate Merab? We all did. I did. I underestimated him. Did he
Yeah.
underestimate? I don't think Merab was saying it the whole time. Look, Petr Yan's been looking down on me, right? He just doesn't think I deserve to be up here. So I
Yeah.
think, and he went out and proved that. So for me, if you really look at Yan, right? City, I'll ask you this. What do you think is next for Yan? Like, where does Yan go from here?
It's a great question, DJ. And I think you obviously, after a couple losses, any fighter got to humble themselves and, form a champion, go back to the well, find out, where things went wrong. I think it was a little bit of everything you said, underestimated him, but I also think it was just a bad matchup. Bad matchup. Jan obviously tries to outpower dudes with his boxing, striking, and you go up against a machine who can wrestle, grapple,
Yeah,
and he's just ferocious, non-stop going at you. I think it was just
yeah,
a bad matchup, and maybe he's got to get with a dude who is not that strong. Maybe with the grapple, another
yeah,
striker. Try to
yeah,
get another win or two. Just get his name back up. Get
yeah,
get that momentum back.
yeah.
You know.
Agree 100%. He just needs to get his mojo back, man. Let's not forget, like you said, he's a former champion. I couldn't have said it any better. It's a bad matchup. But here's the thing, right? Merab is a bad matchup for anyone in that division, I feel,
Mm.
right? Because, I
Now
mean,
he is. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we spoke about this in one of our previous episodes. If you're a strong wrestler, you got one of the hardest disciplines under your belt as an MMA fighter, right? You got that right, which gives you a solid base to perform and be dominant, right? And now, again, let's not take anything away from his striking because his striking was as crisp as well, right? But on Jan's topic, I
Mm.
agree. Like, let's not forget once. I feel like I'm saying let's not forget a lot. Maybe I'm excited. Anyway, um,
No,
Jan's.
you're on fire.
Thanks, man. Look, Jan's been a former champion, and then he had that loss, illegal knee. We all know what happened. The, but also to not to use this word again, but let's not forget, he right went and put a great show, beat one of the best fighters in that division in Corey Sandhagen,
Yep.
right? The point where in the post-fight interview, Corey Sandhagen himself is saying, "Man, Jan won that fight. Like he's too good." Right? And then he went up against Aljo. I think this is where it all turned for Jan, right? I think he went in just like all of us, right? There was a lot of criticism surrounding Aljamain Sterling and in the manner in which he won the belt, then the delay in not wanting to fight immediately, right? The division being on standby, and then Jan having to fight Sandhagen for the interim belt. So there's a lot of criticism surrounding Aljo, and there was a widespread expectation that this is going to be a walk in the park for Petr Yan, who was actually dominating that fight, right? He was making Aljo look silly in the first fight. So we were expecting, everyone was, including himself, including Yan, was expecting to go regain that belt and be on his merry way again to dominate, right?
Yep.
And I think that rounds 2 and 3, which were 10-8 rounds in that Yan Aljo 2, played a big part because he realized, hang on, right? I don't have an answer for Aljo. He's actually beating me at the moment. And true, 4 and 5 were closer rounds, right? But you can argue either way. And being the champ, I think the having had those two 10-8 rounds, it was Aljo got the win, and I think that was a big shock for Jan. Like he refused to shake that off. We've seen this. Look, he's refused to accept that loss. He's been adamant that I won that fight, right? And then he goes on and fights Sean O'Malley, right? And he goes on to fight Sean O'Malley. Same thing, a very close fight. In my personal opinion, I thought Jan won, but
Yep.
regardless, close fight. Sean O'Malley got, and he got again. Look, he was disappointed again. A fight that he should have gone and he should have won. He's like, how did this happen? Like, and he was again adamant. These judges are ruining it. I won that fight, right? And there was a lot of
Mm.
feedback even from the pro fighters that yeah, look, Jan probably won that fight. How much of this mindset not right now he's gone in and fought another fight. Unfortunately, in this, he was clearly outdone. Merab was the better fighter, right? There's no doubt about that. Now, how much of this is going to take a huge hit for Jan's confidence, right? And how much of
Yeah.
this is the contribution of the judges? Oh, you can argue a lot here, right? But you're on the money when you say, look, Jan needs to go back, get some favorable matchups, get back on the horse. Like I said, I'm not ready to write him off. I don't think the UFC will be either. Yeah, we just need it. He needs to get his mojo back, get back on the win streak, and then come back and start challenging
Yep.
again. I think when Jan's confident, he's a
Yeah.
terrific fighter.
Yeah, he could end up just being that guy that maybe never wins the belt back, but he's that name. He's round about that number one, number two contender for a little bit, kind of like a Curtis Blades, just can't
Absolutely, man.
maybe just can't get back to there, but he's still a name and he's still gonna be in some big fights to come. But
Yeah,
I'm not counting him out. But boy, is there better competition now.
man. It's just the whole division was always on fire, but let's not forget.
Yeah,
Here
Triple
we go
C
again with
too.
Triple C is coming back. Triple C is back fighting Aljo for the title. That makes
Yeah,
a hell of a lot exciting, right? And Aljo saying if he wins, he's probably going to vacate and go up to 145. Look, that's a conversation for another day, but that's a big move, right? Like we know the likes of Volkanovski, Rodriguez, Holloway. There's some big players in that 145 division. Anyway, we got Sanhagen fighting Chito Vera. Like,
oh
have people forgotten Chito Vera and what he did to
yeah,
Dominic Cruz and the win streak he's been on, right? He beat Sean O'Malley as well. He's a big name in this division. I reckon if he gets a big win over Sandhagen, he's looking at a title shot. Not so
yeah,
much for Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen obviously had two attempts, couldn't really get there. So he probably needs one more fight to get up there. He did beat Song Yadong, which was a good fight. Again, he was very good in that fight. Um, so look, I feel if Merab's not ready to fight Aljo, if he's probably going to wait it out to see what Aljo's decision is and how May pans out in terms of the fight between Aljo and
mm,
Triple C. If Aljo win or lose, if he vacates that belt, right? If he loses, it becomes an easy thing. But if he wins, then if he vacates the belt, I think Merab will just slot in for a title shot. Or the
yep,
winner of Sandhagen, um, Cheeto might fight Merab. Let's also not forget Merab. What's his name? Sorry, Sean O'Malley. He's unmatched at the moment as well. He doesn't have an opponent, right?
yeah.
And he's
That's
coming
that's
for win. Yeah,
that's big to watch. And
yeah.
what do you make now of the Dana's comments, and then the fact that Merab is not willing or hesitant to fight his good friend, the champion Aljo?
Man, I see where Merab's coming from. Obviously, they took him under his wing. Aljo's been in his corner. Kind of probably a very reminiscent of Burns Usman,
Yeah,
right? But obviously, Merab and Aljo seem to be a lot more closer to each other. Right? They're a lot more closer friends. They're going on holidays together, etc.
yeah,
Now, at the end of the day, this is a sport, right? You're a professional fighter in one of the world's premier organizations, and your aim is to get to the belt. Like, I don't think if you ask Merab, hey, what's your aim? Yeah, I want to be champion, right? So to be honest, like I think while it's as challenging as it is, they should be able to put that aside, right? And be able to, you know, go do what they're meant to do as fighters in that division, in that roster, in that division. It is their the best fight the best. That's the UFC. But if you're the
yeah,
number one
hundred
contender and
percent.
you fight the champion, that's it. But you're at risk of
Yeah,
losing that opportunity. And we know how the UFC is and the UFC administration is, right? Sometimes if you get on their wrong side, if you refuse fight, you may not, you know, find yourself with another opportunity again, right? Because the
yeah,
thing is, right, if Merab's going to take that risk to say, you know what, I'm not going to fight Aljo, give me another fight. Till then, if he were to lose, right, he'll find himself in a very tough spot. So I think if the opportunity for the title fight's there, take it. Right? I think
yeah.
Triple
Agreed.
C, Triple C even said, like, get him as a backup fighter. Get him as a backup fighter for UFC. Was it 288 or 289? I don't know. Whatever the card they're fighting in, right? So there's a few things Merab obviously needs to sit down and think about, have a chat to Aljo, right? But look, without a doubt, if you're talented to fight, I mean, you ultimately are going for something that the other person has. The relationship is going to sour. We saw that with Burns and Usman, right? Like they did make up somewhat, but you can never say they went back to where they originally were, right? It
Yeah.
always is going to be the case. But this
It's a
is the fight.
sport
This
at the end of the day. Like
is
it could be friendly combat, a DJ, but you probably understand the fact is that you're competing to be the best in what you're doing. It's not necessarily you got a beef with your opponent. It's I'm trying to win that strap. It's strap season. You know.
absolutely, man. Like you don't necessarily have to have something against someone to go win a fight. You know who a perfect example is? Robert Whitaker, right?
Yep.
We rarely see him, beefing with anyone, right? And then, but he still goes and like does what he has to do, and then
Yeah.
there's respect afterwards, right? You
And
just
bam,
take that,
bam. He
bam, bam,
he's just all smiles.
yeah, man. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. That's it. If
You get
if
paid too. Don't forget these guys get paid, right?
okay, yeah.
Like,
Whoever's advising Marab, they should be saying if the title
yeah.
shot comes up, you need to take it.
I
That's
think
it.
he's just come up so fast and it's still sinking in. Like he's thinking like, oh, he's just a selfless person, maybe a kind, friendly
Could
person,
be. Yeah, it
and
could be.
that needs to come out in him. He wants to want to be a champion. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I think, but Dana White's pretty clear on these kind of things. He's made comments in the past as well. Like if you're,
Okay.
you can't be seated here like saying I'm friends. We're not fighting each other. Like he's like, if that's the case, then don't fight, right? We know
Yeah.
how Dana White is, right? But hey, look, one thing I want to point out, which I didn't like leading up to the fight, was that from Merab's end, he was trying to make it a little bit political. I didn't really like that aspect of it. I think there were
Yep.
comments made about, look, I'm from Georgia, he's from Russia. We know what's going on. I'm fighting for this. I think, look, at the end of the day, you're just two individuals from a country, right?
Yep.
So you just got to keep that out of sports. You know what I mean? Like that's something I wasn't a fan of when going
Mm,
into this fight. But hey, look, man, all the
yeah.
respect to Merab, he had a dominating win, right? If people didn't know who Merab was before this, now they do. Simple.
Yeah. I think patriotism, is still there for these guys. They're very proud to rep where they're
Yeah,
from. It might be no different if an Aussie was fighting a Kiwi, or something. You're from similar region, but you want to show that you're so prideful of where you're from, and you want to make your hometown, your home area proud. To beat a fierce rival or somewhere, someone close to your territory. But yeah, let's talk about because it was a busy card. There was some
it
other
was.
action.
Yeah, man. Like we got to talk about the core main event. Obviously, big name Alexander Volkov. He's had his fair share of highlight reels. Some on the good side, some on the bad. Unfortunately, whenever I see his name, the first thing that pops to mind is his last, uh, just a few seconds ago, and he gets KO'd by the Black Beast. I don't, can't shake that off. I can't
Yeah,
shake that off. But hey, look, since then, Volkov's come a long way. He's had some good wins. He's collected some wins along the way. And look, he has another win, and this time it's a KO, first round, man. Like he beats Romanov, who who has been he's been bringing some excitement into the
yeah,
division, but obviously not as high ranked. And Volkov went in and showed like there's a difference between there's a reason why there's a ranking system, and there's a reason why we are ranked where we are. So I mean, there's that division. So, but look, entertaining fight for as long as it lasted. But yeah, Volkov
yeah,
went in and made things look a bit easy.
yeah, yeah. Good on him. Obviously he's been a stalwart. He's been around.
Yep.
He's actually just the rankings just got released. He's just moved up one
Yep.
spot. I think
What's he ranked at the moment?
I think he's around 7 now, 7
Yep.
maybe 8, not
See,
maybe 6, but he's ahead of Sergey Spivak,
Spivak.
I think
Okay.
who's in 9 or 8, and he's just one above one above him. So he's definitely one of those names. He's a player. He's still a player. Can he take that extra leap, DJ? Can he really beat a big name? I'm not so sure about that. What are you thinking? What's next?
Yeah, man. Look, he finds himself in a very interesting spot, right? I mean, I don't know if I'm out of place if I say that. Look, he probably may not fight for a title in that division. Right? He's
Mm,
been in the division for a while. He's fought some of the who's and who's, right? If you
yep.
look at some of the guys who beat him, right, like the likes of Gane, Tom Aspinall beat him, right? So he's just he finds himself in that tough spot. He's obviously not fought Bam Bam. If he could fight Bam Bam, that'll be a good fight, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but other than that, like I'm finding it sort of hard to see where he could fight. I'm looking at the rankings now, right? Like so, yeah, Volkov got one. Maybe Spivak, right? Maybe Sergey Spivak and Alexander Volkov, or Alexander Volkov and Tai Tuivasa, who are also ranked next to each other.
Yeah.
Tuivasa 6, Volkov 7. I don't think they've fought.
Yeah.
Hey, another fight I don't mind seeing, and obviously this guy's dropped a lot in terms of the ranking, but he still is a big name. Is Derek Lewis, right? We all know what happened, that infamous knockout.
Mm,
Volkov was winning that fight. Why not see another like a second time round how that goes? You know what I mean? But
yeah. Definitely.
Volkov, Volkov seems to have turned a new page in terms of like he looks more fitter. He looks like he's ready to, make another run. But like I said again, like it is a bit of a top heavy division, and I can't see him really. I mean, does he beat someone like Stipe Miocic? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit hard.
Yeah. It is.
Right?
It really is gonna be tricky because in this division, let's be honest, anyone in the top 10 can usually knock out
Yeah.
another top 10 opponent. It's just going to come down to consistency. I like
Yeah.
that Spurvac matchup. You said he's been somebody who's been fairly consistent. I think he is on a fight streak, a
Yeah.
win streak. Is Sergey
Yeah.
Spivak, so he definitely
Yeah.
deserves a higher up opponent. We heard quotes from Tom Aspinall, I think today or recently. He was on
Yeah. It was
with
recent. Yeah.
Helwani.
Yeah.
He said he's
And
having to cut weight to be a heavyweight
yeah.
now.
And he looks lean. Have you seen his social media? He looks shredded.
Uh,
Right.
yeah.
And then, man, he's looking good. He's looking good. He's looking mean. And he seems extremely confident. I actually watched that entire interview. He looks extremely confident. He wants to fight Marcin Tabura because he wants to
Wow.
try and fight in Poland. He said he likes the country. He likes to fight there, and he also got family there. So yeah, look, man, Tom Aspinall coming back it makes things a lot more exciting. We have, I mean, we need to remember that the champion now of that division is John Jones, which makes things a lot more different, change the landscape of things, right? When you have the greatest of all time as the champion of a division, people automatically find themselves needing to step up, right? Outside of Stipe Miocic, right? We don't really see anyone who kind of matches up to the aura of John Jones yet,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Yes, we got Curtis Blades, who's been there for a while, right? But again, like Blades Jones, like does it generate as much excitement as like a Jones Ngannou, right? Jones Stipe, right? So but look,
Mm.
Aspinall is someone who could actually, depending on what John Jones wants to do, like there's a lot of chatter that he is so Stipe fight could be his last fight, and then he sails into the sunset. But
Yeah.
if he doesn't, and if he decides to stay on, right, I think Aspinall will be a big name, provided how his next couple of fights go, right? Um, I mean, two people who impressed everyone a lot was Blades and Gane and Aspinall. Obviously,
Mm.
unfortunately, Gane's fumbled it a bit, but Aspinall, outside of that injury loss, he's been impressive. So let's see what he brings to the table, man. He could be a big player in there. So look, the heavyweight division's looking good.
Yeah. It really is. Happy for that. And anything else that stood out to you in this UFC Vegas card? We obviously got the
Yeah,
pay-per-view um, coming up this weekend, and we'll be back this week with another episode to drop a preview on that.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like, look, I do have to say that I was looking forward to the Ryan Spann Nikita Krylov fight. because
Yeah.
that was meant to be a main event a couple of weeks ago. And like, look, man, I like the way Ryan Spann fights. Right,
Yeah,
he's
me
very
too.
exciting. He's electric. You always expect something to happen, win or lose. And look, that's exactly what we got. So Krylov actually beat him and jumped up to number 6. Right, so he's
Insane.
up at number 6. Right, it was a submission victory, right, in the first round itself. I mean, the thing with Ryan Spann is he does go all in, and I think that was kind of his downfall. It
Yep.
was electric for as long as it lasted.
Yep.
And look, man, I'd like to, I don't know, Nikita Krylov, what's next for him? I think Anthony Smith is paired up with Johnny Walker, if I'm not wrong. Let's get Krylov and Rakic. Rakic has been out of business for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get Rakic in. They have to do the Ankalaev Blahovic rematch. I feel they have to. It was a draw. We got to see that again. I know it wasn't the most exciting fight, so they both needed to run it back. I'm pretty sure Yuri's going to fight Jamal Hill. And then, so yeah, Rakic. Let's go Rakic and Krylov. Yeah, because
Yep.
Rakic is still a big player in that division.
Huge. Yeah. He's almost like a forgotten
Yeah, absolutely. And I
dude.
actually like him,
Jan.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jan Blahovic.
yeah.
You know,
So again,
Cruz. Has Dominic Cruz like hung it up yet?
nah.
I mean, sorry, not Cruz. Dominic Reyes.
Dominic. Nah, man. The Dominic Reyes is still there, ranked at
Still
number
there?
11. But it's just going to be interesting to see which way he goes next.
Yeah.
It's been on a losing skid now. So yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Certainly,
um,
Johnny Walker's surging.
yeah. We had Said Nurmagomedov lose to Jonathan Martinez, albeit in
Mm.
some controversy. While
Yeah.
it was a decision, the general public believed that the decision should have gone the other way. I believe it was a close fight, but yeah, I do agree that it should have gone the other way. The other noteworthy fight, I think you enjoyed this fight a lot, was Tyson Nam and Bruno
Yep.
Silva. It was a frantic fight.
Man. Yeah. Always exciting with Tyson Nam. Either he
Yeah,
knocks out, highlight knockout, or he gets knocked out.
absolutely, man. Like and look in this case, he got submitted, but that's what you get with some of these exciting fighters. The
Yeah.
decision may or the outcome may not necessarily go your way. Um, Shout out to Rafael Asansao, who hung up his gloves, who announced his
Mm.
retirement, a veteran, been in the division for a while, the bantamweight division, lost to Davy Grant. Uh, I think it was a correct decision, man. Like, given
Yeah.
how expensive that division is now, with age not being on his side, it would have been a tough task to keep fighting these killers, right? He's got nothing to prove. He's been in the top. He's challenged for the number one contender spot previously. I remember him fighting Marlon Moraes at one point. So yeah, man, nothing to be ashamed of. Like obviously a loss still, but you know, you know, the accolades speak for itself. I do want to give it. He's not in the UFC, but obviously another legend in the game, Benson Henderson, who fights in Bellator. Known for some iconic moments, fighting with a toothpick in his mouth. Um, or was on the receiving end of the Showtime kick from Anthony
Yep.
Pettis.
Pettis.
Right,
Yep.
but big name in MMA, retired, fought for the title, fought another Nurmagomedov, Usman Nurmagomedov. Man, I'll tell you what, man, like Usman Nurmagomedov is one of the best lightweights on the planet at the moment, right? And they're ruling the
Yep.
lightweight division. You got Usman there, and then you got Islam Makhachev in the UFC, both lightweight champions.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, he lost, and obviously shout out to Benson Anderson as well, and thank you for all the memories for us MMA fans. And look, man, bigger and better things coming up for us.
Yep.
MMA fans, UFC fans. Nothing bigger than London, which is not too far away. We get to see. Do we get to see another headshot? What do we get to see? There's a lot of excitement. We'll break it down this week. Anyway, um, but yeah, man, like a good place to be.
Yep. And we've got another episode about boxing coming up with all things in the boxing world. We know how much people appreciate our boxing talk and
Okay.
episodes have seemed to be received really well. So appreciate everyone for that. Uh, Obviously, Tim Zhu, the Australian became a champion. So we got to talk about that. So that and more to come. Keep
Yeah.
it locked in, DJ. We're busy, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I know we've been saying this a lot, but we are going to deliver with this boxing episode. We're going to drop one this week, and we'll tell you, you guys are not going to be disappointed.
Yep. But on this episode, that's a wrap.
And look, we will wrap it up until we catch you right here on another episode of That's a Tap, man.
Yep.